East of Akutan Island, November 15th, 1972. 6:54 p.m. The Jarvis was grounding now in its second day. Many, if not all, of the crewmen had not slept during the entire time since GQ was first sounded. While the officers and chiefs had 1 or 2 men assigned to a room, petty officers were 15 to a berthing space, and those below that rank berthed in 30-man rooms. Unfortunately, the vacuum transfer pump that was utilized to flush the toilets was not working. When someone used the head above the main deck, the sewage would exit in a commode located in the large berthing area below. Urine and feces flowed throughout the sleeping area and was not exactly conducive to obtaining a good night of sleep. The lack of heat and the ship's severe rolling only exacerbated the problem. Still, some members did find places to sleep where it was somewhat warm. EM3 Howard Jensen, familiar with the ship's workings, slept on the floor where the emergency generator was situated. The generator was located in the aft steering section of the ship and produced enough heat to warm the space. Wearing Mickey Mouse ear pads to protect against the noise, the petty officer was better off than most. With the whole world watching, Coast Guard Public Affairs was busy keeping the press up to date on the condition of the ship. In no small degree, accurate reporting by the media was achieved. There were a few isolated instances of inaccurate reporting, including at least 4 reports that the ship had sunk, with all hands lost. One such occurrence was with Petty Officer Brunk's father, residing in Chicago, Illinois. Hearing on the news that the Jarvis had sunk in the Bering Sea, his father contacted senior Coast Guard officials in Washington to obtain more information on his son. While tight-lipped with providing much detail, they did assure him that the ship had not sunk. In those few instances of false reports, Coast Guard families were put through heartbreaking trials trying to obtain more information on the Jarvis. When contacted, the Coast Guard assured those families that the situation was stable but continuing. Crew members' families and friends were highly concerned as news of the Jarvis mishap was becoming national headlines. Over in Pennsylvania, Petty Officer Ken Wenner's high school classmate was viewing the news show Good Morning America. With an emergency announcement that the Jarvis was without power and in danger of sinking in Alaskan waters, Wenner was given 2 lines of fame with the local man theme in a local newspaper. Back on the home front in Hawaii, concerned family members stayed by their radios and televisions to hear the latest news of the Jarvis. Mrs. Carol Herman, wife of Jarvis Chief Quartermaster James Herman, explained, "I think they've convinced us that our husbands are in no danger, but not being there and not knowing for ourselves, we still worry. We're all trying to hold our own, but all we can really do is wait." Mrs. Herman went on to say that in her husband's 16 years, he had never experienced such an event. "I've been with him for 14 years, and I've never spent a day like this." Captain Woolley's wife, Margaret, had similar feelings. "It's kind of a helpless feeling, just waiting for information," she said. "We're pretty sure that they're all right, but naturally, until you know there's a tow line on, you're concerned. When your husband goes to sea most of his life, you know some problems like this may come up, and you learn to weather it." With Jarvis homeported in Honolulu, the local newspapers were reporting daily updates on the status. Upon her return to Honolulu, the Honolulu Star-Bulletin interviewed both the executive officer, Commander Ken White, and Ensign James Richardson. As reported by the newspaper, Ensign Richardson recalls, "We were in seas 35 to 40 feet high. A 70-knot wind was off our starboard quarter. We were rocking with a tilt of about 35 degrees. Our bridge is 44 feet high, but the tops of the oncoming waves appear to be up to our feet. The engine room was flooded. We were adrift. We were taking a pounding, and a lesser crew would have seen it go to the bottom. All through this, there wasn't a single complaint from anyone in the 170-man crew, even though most worked 18 hours a day for a 3-day stretch." The ship's executive officer, Commander Ken E. White of Honolulu, said, "The ship was down on its knees." Both White and Richardson painted a picture of a gallant crew and captain laboring under tremendous stress.